All right, guys. Today we are going to be reacting to why black liberals hate facts and cancel me every day. Thomas Sowell reacts. Let's jump in.
Couple times how you say things and think differently than others. And I want to read it. It'll take me just a minute here to read this paragraph and ask you to explain it further. This is deep in the book, and when I read it, it kind of popped out, and I wanted to ask you what you meant by all this. Say any fundamental re-examination of the assumptions behind preferential policies. That's the name of the book. And still more so, any resulting change of policies can expect to encounter their vocal, bitter, and determined opposition, including inevitable charges of racism against outsiders, labels of traitor put on any members of their own group who disagree with them, who disagree publicly with them, and whatever other claims or charges seem likely to be politically effective. When you said labels of traitor put on any members of their own group who disagree publicly with them, were you talking about yourself?
Only as one among many.
Mm.
Randall Kennedy up at Harvard did a very fine article in the Harvard Law Review last June, for which he was denounced as an academic minstrel and other things because he was out of step. I mean, people who raise their heads will set off a search and destroy mission because people have a lot at stake and they're sitting on a house of cards. They have many assumptions which simply cannot be examined carefully because those assumptions will collapse and they'll fall from a very high position to a very low position. And they are not about to tolerate people questioning what they're saying.
Is there a way for you to put it in a nutshell about what people of, say, your own race say about you that they don't like what you say about
wait. I think one of the ways that the organized noisemakers have succeeded is saying that what they're saying is what their race is saying. My race is not saying that about me. Those particular individuals who are a small minority of themselves within the black community, who have a vested interest in many of these programs, they are saying that. But when I checked out of my hotel this morning, you know, the black security guard came over and said, "Are you Sowell?" And I said, "Yes." And he shook my hand warmly, and he walked me the length of the corridor and talked about this and about that. And that's not at all an uncommon experience for me. So it's not Sowell versus blacks, it's the black intellectuals. And the black intellectuals are no more typical of the black population than white intellectuals are of the white population. But they have a very large vested interest.
Interesting comparison. So, black intellectuals basically they're not at the same level, or they pretend to be in the same level as just regular black Americans. It's the same as the white intellectuals. It's true. The best example for this is just colleges. College professors. Somehow they know what's better for people that live in the suburbs. People that are basically working in these prestige colleges, somehow they know what's best for people that live in the suburbs. It's the same problem.
And certain beliefs which underlie various programs from which they benefit enormously. And as I point out in the book, this is common around the world, that the elites benefit from preferential programs, even when those programs are in the name of the masses. The masses do not benefit. In the case of the current so-called Civil Rights Act, the masses are going to lose big if that law goes into effect.
Why?
Because employers will not want to hire as many blacks in the jobs for which most blacks will be applying, because those will not be jobs as rocket scientists or as doctors or as any of those things. And therefore, they'll want to hold down percentages down there to what they can do in the higher ranks, which is going to be much less. And so you're sacrificing the working class blacks for the benefit of the professional elite.
How do the intellectual elite, both white and black, get to the position that they do in this country that you disagree with?
I mean, how do they have the influence they have?
Well, no, but what's their, from what your discussions over the years, what's their thought process that gets them there? Is it emotion or is it fact?
Emotion largely, but also a large amount of self-interest, increasingly self-interest. I think that if you went back, you know, into the 60s, you'd find people with different views like Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. But I think that both those men believed in what they said. Whereas today, you have people who are simply professional hustlers. And again, this is not
So
peculiar
all
to black
Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, these are professional hustlers. They've been just complaining about the same thing with the same goals actually, and they haven't done anything. Actually, nothing. for the black community, not even the black community, America as overall.
Peculiar to the United States, or even peculiar to racial issues. That organizations, typically, many movements are set off by idealistic people who want to promote some good for mankind or for some group. But as time goes by and as they succeed, they'll be followed by people who can use these things for their own self-interest.
Yeah.
And that's been the history of regulatory agencies in the government. It's been the history of, I think, of religions, that the first Christians who were being persecuted by the Roman Empire were not in it, for what they could get, because all they were going to get is trouble. But once Christianity became the state religion, this became a very lucrative career for some people. And then you get an entirely different kind of person coming in at that point, and we have an entirely different kind of movement.
Very nice.
I love this quote from Thomas Sowell. One of the painful signs of years of dumbed down education is how many people are unable to make a coherent argument. They can vent their emotions, question other people's motives, make bold assertions, repeat slogans, anything except reason. And the most evident place to observe this is with Hollywood actors, where these people are just mindless, soulless megaphones repeating what their owners tell them to say.
And that's the saddest thing, man. I remember this video. This was the cringiest video ever being created in the face of the earth. Talk about a cringe video. It's this one right here. Hollywood pretending that they can just connect with black people from Atlanta or Brooklyn. Isn't that funny?
I really like the argument on people.
They're basically trying to say, "Hey, man, I just need a job. I need a job. Can you give me the job? Hey, I'm doing the thing that we're supposed to do to get some attractions, get some roles." It's disgusting.
Disagreeing, but actually believing in what they are disagreeing about. I think there's nothing more insulting than just being a mindless robot because you've sold your soul for success. And that's pretty much why I've lost respect for so many of those people, because if you can't respect yourself enough to own yourself and own your own thoughts, then you're nothing more than a slave. But let me know what you think.
Yeah, good point. Good point. These people are supposed to be successful, or the representation of success, right? However, their action has nothing to do with success. Nothing. Do not give. These people have so much money. They care about the poor people but when there's a catastrophe in the United States, they're the first one and not even showing a small drop of sympathy to these people that are being affected. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next one.